And a very happy Friday to you at 12:08 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, California Attorney General Rob Bonta just wrapped up a press conference talking about the takedown of an organized retail theft ring. And as you know, when Rob Bonta holds a press conference, he's got a story to tell and buckets of cliches to unload.
And before we dive in, I want to thank our law enforcement partners who we couldn't do this work without. This was very much a collaborative effort, an effort of partnership and sharing information and working together hand in hand.
I wonder if Gavin Newsom watches the news and sees him at these press conferences and said, I wish I had a mulligan.
Every type of leadership is about meeting the moment and rising to the occasion, and this is what's required. And so we're stepping up and getting it done.
It does make you want to scratch the noggin. Why was it Bonta that was chosen for this job?
I don't know. But he is the luckiest person on planet Earth that Gavin Newsom plucked him out of obscurity and made him the Attorney General. Because if he didn't, and he termed out of the assembly, how much do you want to bet Rob Bonta would be starring in those corporate sexual harassment videos?
In Topanga.
I don't have any proof to back this up, but we do know that the Dong family has selfies with Gavin Newsom. Maybe they're the ones that pushed it.
Oh, yes. Well, with Rob Bonta as well. Rob Bonta has lots of dong pics.
We're focused on the work. We are sleeves rolled up, heads down, arms extended in partnership, arms locked together to collaborate, to deliver.
Couldn't have said it better myself. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. And right now it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, we're going to begin with a story from the other city by the bay.
It's time to head to Oakland, everybody.
It's wild, wild west out here.
Because OPD had a takedown of a massive crime spree that happened the other day. Let's find out what happened. Here is Cron 4.
Police arrested 4 people after a crime spree all across that city this morning.
And the group targeted gas stations and convenience stores, but
seems like the prime target anytime we do a crime story about Oakland these days.
I can't believe any of these convenience stores can find anyone to be a cashier.
I mean, how many chevrons were hit last month?
A lot.
But despite that, the police chief there says crime for the first 3 months of this year is down.
What?
You know what I would do if I was Chevron? I'd go back to calling myself Standard Oil just to confuse the crooks.
Cron 4's Gail Ong reports.
From a 7-Eleven, AM, PM, and a Shell gas station, these are just...
Boy, they're not even brand loyalists. They hit everybody.
No.
These are just some of the businesses across Oakland that were hit by thieves early Thursday morning.
The crime spree began shortly before 5 a.m., where the suspects used a vehicle to ram the front doors of the business before going inside and burglarizing.
Assistant Police Chief James Beer with the Oakland Police Department adds the suspects targeted at least 6 gas stations and convenience stores in just under 2 hours.
Okay. And not only do they have to deal with the fact that they lost all the merchandise and their cashier is going through PTSD, but every time they get robbed now, it's not like the old days when they just had to get blood out of carpet. Now when they get robbed, they have to call in a construction crew to rebuild the wall.
They've got a Kia-sized hole in it.
In one case, approaching one of the victims.
Fearing for her life, the clerk locked herself in an adjoining room, and the suspects forced entry there.
The group went on to commit more theft.
What the hell?
I wonder if these quickie marts now have panic rooms.
The suspects forced entry there.
The group went on to commit more thefts, but their spree ended here on Wood Street.
4 suspects were arrested, 3 male adults and 1 female adult.
Was their plan to just see how many gas stations they could rob in a row before they got caught?
Well, if someone didn't stop them, there would be no places to buy gas from.
We'll work with the district attorney's office to determine the appropriate charges, but they range from home invasion, robbery, and burglary at this time.
OPD crediting the arrest to a special resource section using technology and witness accounts. Meantime, Police Chief Floyd Mitchell says these types of crimes are overall down in Oakland for the first 3 months of 2025.
Who's buying that?
That's what the police chief is saying. He wants to impress the new mayor.
How many gas station burglary robbery stories have we done in just Oakland in the last month?
Yeah, but you see, he has a new boss.
Meantime, Police Chief Floyd Mitchell says these types of crimes are overall down in Oakland for the first 3 months of 2025.
Robberies are down 44%.
No.
That's what he says.
From 952 to 530 incidents in 2025. Regarding property crimes, our burglaries are down 33% for the same time period last year.
Critics say these statistics don't tell the whole story.
You don't say.
And by critics, they mean us.
But Chief Mitchell stresses the importance of reporting crimes when they happen.
I understand that if you've been a victim of a crime, it may not feel like crime is going down, but please know that our officers are deeply committed to investigating and solving your cases each and every day.
Back to the gas station investigations, there are more open cases. Just last month, gas stations in the Montclair and Rockridge neighborhoods were burglarized in similar fashion. This gas station...
What was this about the robberies going down 40%?
40% would be dramatic.
This gas station on Broadway and Taft Avenue has...
By the way, in that same press conference, he did address that the murder rate is up.
Uh-oh.
This gas station on Broadway and Taft Avenue has since installed these barriers to prevent people from driving through. OPD says
they're Kia-proof now.
I love the fact that this is what we have to do now. To avoid stolen cars coming through the front wall, you have to put barriers in front of your business.
OPD says there is another group also targeting gas stations in Oakland and other parts of the Bay Area. Investigators are looking into these past crimes to see if there is a connection.
We're going to track you down. We're going to arrest you. We're going to recover the video. We're going to get the evidence. And now we're working with the district attorney's office, and people will be held accountable.
Reporting.
Well, that is different because now there's a district attorney who wants to do their job.
Oh, yeah, the crime boss is gone.
Reporting in Oakland, Gail Ong, Cron 4 News.
But you heard the claim in that story after Good for Them OPD took down this spree where they robbed 6 gas stations in a row and then finally got stopped. But Floyd Mitchell saying, hey, these kind of crimes are way down in Oakland. This isn't a 10% drop. We're talking about a 44% drop.
Well, Randy, maybe we've turned the corner in Oakland, and maybe we can officially say that town is safe.
Oh, no. There's more crime blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
See, here's the problem with that, Johnny. Yesterday, a 7-Eleven got robbed twice in the span of 24 hours. And it was the same clerk that got hit twice. After he threatened to quit, he stayed for one more day. And that one day more, he got hit again.
Well, he's still alive to talk about it, so thank heaven.
For more, let's go back to Cron 4.
A gas station clerk who was actually robbed in yesterday's Oakland crime spree was hit again this morning.
What was that about crime being down?
He decided to just get back on the horse and go back to work. And right after he clocks in, he gets robbed another time.
As you can imagine, he's scared. He's fed up with crime. Cron 4's Will Tran is live in Alameda County with the latest, Will. So what's going on?
Raina, he could have avoided what happened several hours ago, but he wanted to help out his boss. His boss asked him, could you stay for another day after he decided to quit?
That was a mistake.
He gets robbed. It gets beaten during the robbery. He says, I quit. The boss says, I get it, but can you at least stay one more day? And he says, fine. And he gets robbed and beaten again.
Boy, it is not his week, is it?
He thought about it and said, yes, I will come back for one more day, and he paid for it. Let me show you video. You talked about all the crime sprees that took place in Oakland.
What was that about the crime being down?
44%.
This one in particular was on Thursday at around 5 o'clock. It was among the crime spree. People went inside and then ransacked the 7-Eleven store and just took a lot of items. He was working at the time. They called police officers and they came out to that location. His boss eventually also came out and looked at it, needed help, and asked him, would you mind staying for one additional day? After he told his boss, I've had enough and I want to quit. And then he came.
When you quit, you quit.
Yeah, do not go back on that. That is the lesson to be learned from today's show. If the little voice inside your head is telling you to quit a job for one reason or another, do not listen to the voice on the other shoulder.
And then he came back, and then it happened again at midnight. So we're talking about 5.5 hours ago. To say he is traumatized is an understatement. We got.
Oh, could you imagine what they must have found when the cops showed up after the second burglary? He was probably down on the ground in the fetal position, sucking on his thumb.
We got a chance to talk to that clerk. He did not want to show his face on camera, but here's his voice and reaction to what happened to him again.
I was sitting inside and one car came and maybe 5 to 6 guys came and they bring the store and they broke the door and
They banged through the door, they broke the door. It's kind of hard to understand him.
they get inside and they hit me and they told me to open the cash register.
They hit him in the face and then told him to open the cash register.
I think this guy is going to look on the globe and try to find a country that's engaged in a civil war that he can move to for a little peace and quiet.
And they grabbed the cash and they ran out. Then after that, I called the police.
And after that, he called the police.
Well, that was probably a good idea.
No word yet on police officers if they made any arrests in this second incident. We will try to find out as the morning goes on. But we do understand that the first incident, he was not injured or not badly injured at all. And in this second incident, he paid for it after, according to him, someone hit him on the head. Back to you.
All right, well, thank you for that.
A 7-Eleven in Oakland got broken into and robbed, and the same clerk got robbed and hit twice in one day.
Now, if you're the boss after the second incident, do you go to the clerk and say, I'm in a real bind here. I don't have anyone that can cover your shift tomorrow. Would you mind staying a third day?
Hopefully he's long gone.
If that were me and it was time to clock out, after I got hit on the head and robbed a second day in a row, I don't even think I would take the time to open up the car door. I think I'd just slide in Dukes of Hazzard style through the window. Just turn on the ignition, punch the gas, and all you see is a cloud of smoke. Poor guy.
Now remember, that story aired just minutes after Floyd Mitchell, the chief of police hired by Sheng Tao, said, No. Crime is down in Oakland.
Robberies are down 44% from 952 to 530 incidents in 2025.
Okay, we are now live in the Bay Area. We have many listeners who live in the city of Oakland. We have many listeners who live in neighboring communities in the East Bay who use Oakland for the airport, or you go in, I guess you used to go in for professional sports games, not anymore. But you go to Oakland for one reason or another. You're familiar with what's going on in that city. The police chief is claiming that crime is down by a dramatic 44%. If that is true, everyone in town should notice the city getting better, cleaner, and safer. You live in Oakland. You do business in Oakland. You drive through Oakland. We want to hear from you right now at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Do you believe the chief of police when he said that crime is down a whopping 44%? You're our eyes. You're our ears. What say you? At 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, the weekend is almost here. Not just any weekend. It's Stagecoach weekend if you're out in the Coachella Valley and ready for some country music. If you want to listen to us when you're sitting in traffic on your way to Stagecoach, Randy, that's easy to do.
Let's say you want to educate yourself on some of the more prominent crime stories that have happened in Oakland in the last couple of years.
It's a lot of crime now.
Search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, my God. They melted the basketball court.
Search on the Apple Podcasts app.
It's Wild Wild West out here.
Search on Spotify.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
Search on the iHeartRadio app.
Oakland, I love you, but you don't love me.
Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can get The John Phillips Show.
Who else are we going to call Superman?
And if you're a country music fan, you probably like our bumper music, but we can't play it on the podcast. And Randy, that's for legal reasons.
Yes, that's why it's completely dry.
We only pay for the rights to play it on the radio. We're certainly not going to spend the money that it would require to put it on the podcast, too. All right, we're taking your calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. The chief of police in Oakland says crime is down a whopping 44%.
Robberies are down 44%, from 952 to 530 incidents in 2025.
If that's true, Oakland would be a very safe place. You live there. You do business there. You travel through there. Do you believe the police chief when he says crime is down by 44% in Oakland? 800-222-5222 is the number. Right now, we're taking your calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. The chief of police in Oakland says that crime is in free fall in that city.
Robberies are down 44%, from 952 to 530 incidents in 2025.
Do you believe him? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Let's begin with John in Oakland. John, hello.
Hey, how you doing there, John?
Good.
Good. Okay, I live in Oakland. In less than a year, I've had 2 cars stolen. And neither time did the police ever come out. Okay, I had to go down and make a report because of insurance. I don't think a lot of crimes are being reported. Number 2, when he says in 2025, does he mean from April of 24 to April of 25, or does he mean from January to April of 25? So he's very vague in what he says. He should say year over year, but I don't believe a word that police chief says.
Now, what did they tell you when you got the car stolen? Did they just say fill out a form online?
Oh, I'll tell you what they did. So first of all, I had one of those things with the Apple thing, the Apple tag in the car. I knew exactly where it was. So I called them up and said, hey, I want to go get my car. They said, well, you got to make a report. I said, okay. They said, well, you can wait for a police officer or you can go down to, this was Sunday, down to the police station. So I said, well, last time the police officer didn't even come, so I guess I better go down because I want to get my car. So I go down there, fill out the paperwork. Then, because my car was in Hayward. So then they told me, well, I got to call the Hayward police. So then I called the Hayward police after I filled out the report, like 30 minutes later, and I said, hey, my car's been stolen. They said, well, we don't see anything on the blotter about a stolen car. Go back to the OPD, and they say, oh, well, within 24 hours, it should be on there. So I then said, okay, I got a better idea. So I called Hayward Police up and said, hey, I know where my car is. I'm going to get it. And if you don't want any violence to occur, because it could, you better show up before me. And, of course, they were there then. But
and did you get the car back?
I sure did.
Good.
I sure did. Yeah, but like I say, I don't believe, first of all, what that police chief said is very vague. 25, what does that mean? From April of 24 to 25? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, he was kind of funny with the language that he used. It was almost as if he was trying to be purposely vague.
I agree, because like I say, when you say 25, then I think of January. But when you watch, because I watch financial shows a lot because I invest in the stock market, and they always say, okay, year over year. That means then from April of 24 to April of 25. He didn't say that. He just said in 25. So whatever it is, if it's from January to April, we're way ahead.
It looks like he was trying to find any possible way to paint a rosy picture because the one statistic that you can't really play with is murder, and the murder rate is way up this year.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, see, I stopped reading the news, man, because it's just so depressing, man. It's not worth it. And this place is, hey, I drive down the street, and if I'm not driving fast enough, they're passing me in the other lane, just in the city streets. And because they don't care, there's no police officers around. And then, listen to this. So then I got my car back, right? And so I had it towed to my house, and then, waiting because it was stolen on a weekend, waiting for the body shop to open, right? So about a week later, OPD calls me up and says, hey, we found your car. I said, no, you didn't. I got my car. And you know what they did? Yeah. Yeah, I said, no way. There's no way you found my car. I got it at the body shop right now, getting fixed, or the dealer getting fixed. So, no, we got it right here. Man, I went over there and I knew it. They stole the license plate. Well, I had it parked down in front of my house to take it to the dealer to fix it. They stole the license plate in the meantime.
Oh, my goodness.
That's Oakland, man. Hey, that's Oakland. Hey, that guy that said this is the Wild, Wild West, it is. Because, hey, you look on TV, when they do those sideshows, does OPD stop them? No, they're there watching. They're there watching. And then the lady, I said, what are you guys doing? You know how many police officers they have? I probably shouldn't say this on the radio, but I'm gonna, because this is Oakland. Who cares? You know how many police officers at night they have patrolling the hills?
How many?
3.
Oh, my God. I believe it.
And, hey, I'm sure you know what? But once the crime gets to the hills, now we have a chance to turn things around. And unfortunately, you think Barbara Lee really came in here to do anything for the city? You know why she came here, just like Ron Dellums when he came, to spike his pension. That's the only reason why she's here, to spike her pension.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the call, and I'm glad you got your car back.
All right. You have a good day.
All right. You too.
I had a feeling if we did this topic, we'd get a call like that. That is a runner for caller of the year.
I think so. Let's go to Al in Alameda. Al, hello.
Oh, Al dropped off.
Okay. Let's go to Mark in Fontana.
Mark, hello.
Hey there. Hey, John. How are you?
Good.
I am a victim of a crime. I'm a business traveler. I flew up into Oakland Airport, was there for a couple of days. When I went to return when I went to refuel my rental car, I didn't get a receipt. So I went in the Chevron station on 98th Street. When I came out, my back quarter window was busted out. And the back seat was moved forward so they could see what was in the trunk. Now, let me tell you what these thieves look for, and this goes for anybody traveling in that area. They look for a rental car. Rental cars do not have a frame around the license plate. They have a decal that doesn't say the month. It says fleet, and then it says the year. These thieves, these hoodlums, follow these cars around when they pull into a gas station because they know a business traveler like myself is going to have a suitcase, a briefcase, and probably a laptop in the trunk. So that is what they do. Around the gas stations near the airport, there's signs posted everywhere that says do not leave items exposed. I was very fortunate that I'm guessing I came out of the gas station and maybe spooked them and they drove off, but it happened so quick. And I mean, let's say 40, 45 seconds or so, in and out with a receipt, back window broken out, and they were long gone. And this happens day in and day out. When I went back into the gas station, I backed the car up to the front door. I walked in and I go, hey, I know you guys can't do anything about this. I just want to let you know that somebody broke into my car when I came in for a receipt. And they said, again? And
oh, no.
They said it happens 3 or 4 times a day, every day.
What did the rental car company say when you brought it back?
Though, it's really funny that you asked that, because they are well aware it happens over and over and over again. You pull up with a broken window like I did, and they say, "Don't tell me someone broke into your car at the gas station." It's like, yeah, how did you know? So the rental car companies are well aware of this going on. They used to warn you when you first got into town and got a car, be careful in Oakland, but I haven't heard that in a while. But I despise that city. It looks like a third world country. It looks like Somalia back in the 80s and 90s. It's just a horrendous place. I feel bad for the honest people that live in that city, John.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. They may end up selling more Teslas in Oakland than any other city, Randy, because that way you can avoid the gas stations altogether. Let's go to Tom in Mill Valley. Tom, hello.
Hey, Randy. Hey, John. All the savory cynicism aside, you guys do a really great service. It's been a pleasure to send you email and listen to you on the radio.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm an attorney in Oakland, and I would say overall the crime might be a little bit higher, but the economics have troughed. So what used to have some positive economics in Oakland, they're all gone. So all you have is the grit. I will say there's lots of great spots like the hills the previous caller talked about in Oakland, and it's beautiful. But the spots that were kind of on the edge of gritty, like Fruitvale and west of Lake Merritt and west of south of Lake Merritt, really gotten gritty. So I have a client. She, has an apartment building, and we got one squatter. Next thing you know, all the squatters are gone. All the squatters are there, and the residents are intimidated and leaving, and the cops can't really get their arms around the problem. And then it turns out some of the squatters turn out to be gang members. And so one of the gang members tried to grab my 83-year-old landlady, who I represent, off the street in Fruitvale to prop her up at the Wells Fargo Bank and take her cash. So, and the Wells Fargo Bank said, "Oh yeah, we saw these clowns in here for the past 2 months, and they're yelling at tellers and disrupting the environment." And they passed one altered check across to the teller. And we tried to get it back, and they ripped it away from them and left. But the bank never told us this. I mean, I got an 83-year-old client, and you got a numbskull putting an 83-year-old woman in front of you and yelling at the tellers, and nobody mentioned this. So that bank is now closed. That Wells Fargo branch in Fruitvale is now closed.
Not surprised.
Yeah. Well, you laugh, but Oakland is too good a city. There's a lot of major building going on here. There's a lot of existing buildings that are really good. All these skyscrapers, if nobody rents them, the business taxes, drop 90%. And this town is really, Barbara Lee is a disaster, obviously. That would be the second disaster.
Well, there's no reason why that shouldn't be one of the prettiest cities in the country. I mean, you think about it, it's right on the bay. It's right across from San Francisco. The views are all of San Francisco. You have the hills. It's beautiful. The climate is just like San Francisco's. There's no reason why that shouldn't be a gem. But the government that exists in Oakland now and the government that's existed there for a while is a complete disaster. All the problems in Oakland are man-made.
Well, just as an aside, school kids now are told that the Black Panthers were a helpful organization. And I'm an Oakland native. I met the Black Panthers. Let me tell you, and the people in this, when the Black Panthers are around, the guys that were from like Alabama and did machine shopping and they're wearing their coveralls, they've got a 45 on their side. And why do they have the 45? They didn't have the 45 for the Howuli I am. They had the 45 because the Black Panthers used to come by and intimidate Baptist churchgoers because they didn't want the Baptist churchgoers that donate to the Baptist church. They wanted them to donate to the Black Panthers. So the theory that somehow the Panthers helped Oakland it's the kind of mental contamination that goes on in Oakland.
Well, thank you so much for the call, sir. I appreciate your time.
This hour's getting wild.
It feels like every call that we go to just gets more bonkers than the last.
It's wild, wild west out here.
The police chief in Oakland says crime is down 44%.
Oh, here it is.
Robberies are down 44% from 952 to 530 incidents in 2025.
Do you believe him? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Herm in Oakland. Herm, hello.
How you doing today?
Good.
We just had a neighbor's car stolen last night up here in Castro Valley. Only reason why the sheriffs went after it because it blew down the boulevard at 120 miles an hour. Buddy of mine's got a Jeep SRD. They biffed it, got into it, started it about 3 minutes, and we're gone. And at New Year's, I had our Suburban. Well, it was stolen. It was a 06 with an 8.1 liter 496. They couldn't catch it until Dixon. They had to have a chopper on it. But Alameda County dropped the charges on the thieves in the quote-unquote interest of justice.
So that had to be Pamela Price.
You got.
Well, thank God she's
I have
gone.
a Suburban with the right front wheel ripped off it. Like I said, they couldn't catch it. They had to put the chopper on it. Last night, my neighbor across the street's out running out in his underwear because he heard the thing fire up. Got it down near Highland Hospital off East 25th this morning. We got it at about 3 a.m.
Sounds pretty wild. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Clifton in Vallejo. Clifton, hello.
What's going on, John? Man, props out to you and Randy for shining a light on what's going on in Oakland. My wife is a postal worker who been with the Postal Service in Oakland, and every day I pray for her when she go over to that godforsaken place. You understand what I'm saying? My wife was on Fairfax and High Street delivering mail. She crossing the street through the crosswalk. Somebody just speeding on the street, run over her, hit and run her, and we're still going through the repercussions of that right now because of the medical stuff. You know what I'm saying? That she's going through. She can't go back to work. She can't do this. She can't do that. She on restriction. Man, something need to be done about this, bro. These people are absolutely ridiculous. With these sideshows and all of that, man, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Thank you for the call, sir, and I'm sorry your wife got hit, but I'm glad she's on the mend. Well, Randy, I had a feeling we'd get some wild calls. I didn't know we'd get that.
It's wild, wild west out here. Who else are we going to call Superman?
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.